Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you give us one of those handouts, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. No, I walked right by it.
Me too.
Okay.
You too?
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Linda, you got one?
Yep, I got one.
All right. Anybody struggling in the market right now? Anybody?
Struggling to get buyers. The listings.
Can I just take the fifth on this one?
Yes, just leave it at that. I already know the answer, but I'm going to teach this class. I teach it all the time. I've changed the name of it. It's basically how to dominate the market. Have you ever had a client you wanted to fire? And you didn't?
Yeah,
Yes.
And you went ahead and stuck it out and did the deal,
kind of.
right?
Yeah.
I can tell you this, if you had enough leads, you would fire clients when you wanted to fire them when they're not a fit for you. The only reason why you don't is because you want that paycheck or you need that paycheck, right? So that's why I figured I put this class together and I'm like, I'm going to teach you what I did to build my business, and it works for any type of sales job. And you're in sales. So I know you're a realtor, but you're in sales, right? So a little bit about me. We didn't have cell phones back in the day, but that's me back in 1980 something. I'm not going to tell you the exact year. When I went into the Army and they took your picture right when you were getting ready to graduate from basic training. So I was lean, mean. Look at those cheekbones. I was still skinny though. I was still the same skinny guy though.
The Army. Man.
Cobra crew chief. I was in the helicopter across taking that picture. That's over the 1K zone in Germany when they used to have East Germany and West Germany. Okay, it was kind of
Wow,
cool.
you're
So we used to,
cool.
we used to patrol that zone. And I was in 37th Cav. I'm a Cav guy through and through. Yeah. Just another couple little things that are kind of fun. I shook hands with these two guys. You guys know who they are?
Oh,
Ronald
yeah.
Reagan, Helmut Kohl, and also Bush, the old guy, the older Bush.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another picture. That helicopter actually, that's a picture right before that helicopter crashed. So, anyways, and I was there when the Berlin Wall came down.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
That was a good party.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, whenever someone's in front of the room, I always say, what qualifies them to speak about what they're speaking about? Here's my production. I got into business in 2012. My very first year, I served 51 families. And if you go down the list here, my best year, 2020, we served 644 families. That's a lot. 214 million that year, over $1 billion in closing, and this is over 3,200 now, families that I've served. So that's a lot. Just do the math on that real quick. You don't have to whatever, but if a realtor made 3%, let's say you make 2% on $1 billion, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Right?
That's right.
As a lender, we make about 1%. It's still a lot of money. Okay?
Yeah.
So I want you to listen and pay attention. It's probably not going to be anything new that you're going to hear. It might be something that you forgot that you knew and you forgot or whatever, but just buckle up and we're going to go through. It's a lot I'm going to cover. Okay? So, and again, I don't do that to beat on my chest. I'm going to teach you how I did this. And it's the same thing you need to do to build your business to the level you want to build it to. What's your number one job as a realtor?
Take care of your clients.
Okay, what else?
Well, get clients.
Get clients.
Get clients.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that's
Party
exactly
your way
right.
to the top.
You need to prospect.
That's what I do.
That's your number one job. Number one job as a realtor.
Party my way to the top.
Prospect, prospect, prospect. 80% of your time should be spent prospecting. When times were really good, like 2020, 2021, if your business went like this, and then it would go like you'd be on a tear, and then it would slow down, and you'd have to go back out and get some more deals, and it just goes like this, your pipeline. And the reason for that is people take their eye off of prospecting. They spend their time doing the paperwork, and working on the contract and whatever else, right? All the administrative stuff. When this is your number one job, 80% of your time should be prospecting. Here's 3 things I see that you're not doing, or the reason why people aren't prospecting, or that could make your prospecting better. Number 1 is you need to measure your prospecting activity. Everything that gets measured gets improved. So I'm kind of a sports guy, so like Michael Phelps, right, the swimmer. Do you think he timed himself every time he was in the pool practicing, right? Or they keep score at games, and like it's not just like the YMCA where everybody gets a trophy. In the real world, they measure the things that they want to get improved, right? And if you're not measuring your prospecting activities, you're not going to improve them. Like if you don't have a set plan every day, like when I go to bed at night, I already know what I'm doing the next day. It's not it's not a guess. It's not a, maybe I'll call this person, maybe I'll do that. Like, it is dialed in. You can ask Rob. I'm telling you, when I'm in here, I'm dialed in. I'm not at the water cooler, just trying to catch up on, Saturday Night Live skits or whatever. Like, I am working, okay? But you need to measure. And I measure my stuff every day. Like, at the beginning of the year, had my daughter, she's on my team. She printed out a binder for everybody on our team. And it has every day of the week, we track all the activities that matter, that get you paid daily. And then we measure them at the end of the week, then we measure them at the end of the month. And how did we do against our goals? I'll share those with you. That tracker that I use, I'll give it to Rob and he can distribute it later. He can email it. So, and I'm old school. I use paper because there's something about when you write something down that it sticks with you and you're really looking at it versus on the computer or on your phone. You can do it either way you want, but I use paper. Okay. Discipline. Success is very boring. I'm going to tell you, and I'm not saying this to whatever, I'm very successful in this business, okay? I feel like the reason for that is because I have discipline. Like, when I get up in the morning, I have the same routine every day. My wife is like, oh my gosh, she kind of laughs or whatever, because I read my positive affirmations, they're posted on my mirror, and literally when I wake up, I'm like, Rick, you're the best loan officer in Colorado Springs. That's what it used to say. You know what it says now? You're the best in the nation, because I am in the top 1% in the country. Right? So you got to up your game, right? And there's some other ones, you don't need to know them all. I'm a great lover too. No. But I do that every day. I work out. I go make my shake, whatever, because I got to keep up with this girlish figure. And then I read a little bit of the news, and I only read it because if someone wants to talk about the news, I want to have the headlines and kind of know what's going on, so I'm not totally oblivious, right? And not to talk politics, okay? And then I get to work. I already know who I'm going to call when I get to work because I've already determined that the day before. The reason why people don't make their phone calls is they don't know who to call. They didn't do the homework, okay? So anyways, but it's discipline. You guys ever heard of Tim Glover wrote the book Relentless? Have you ever read that book? He's the coach of MJ, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. He was Kobe Bryant's coach as well too. And after every game, it doesn't matter, even in the championships, all through the playoffs, whatever, he'd always go up to Michael J, and he would say, hey, 5, 6, or 7. And and everybody's like, what is he talking about? He's talking about, what time are you going to be in the gym? 5, 6, or 7. The greatest player on planet Earth went to the gym every day in the morning before he started his day, before he did anything else, right? And so it's not sexy what I do or what you need to do to be successful, but it works. And where you will find the holes in your pipeline is when you're not consistent. When you just say, you know what? I don't really need to do that today. I got this, I got that. You can make excuses. Excuses don't do anybody any good. Nobody. You got bills to pay. You got kids that love you and care for you. They want to eat 3 times a day. I don't know what the hell that's about. But like, you know what I mean? Like, don't make excuses. So you got to have the daily discipline. Nobody can do that for you. You actually have to do the work for it to work. Okay? And then accountability. The tool I give you can be your accountability tool, right? Like literally, if you just use the tracker, that could be your accountability tool. At the end of the day, when you're thinking about shutting it down, and you look and you say, oh, I didn't send that handwritten thank you card yet, or however many you're going to do. I didn't make the 20 calls I was going to make today. I'm at 18, whatever. Hold yourself accountable. Look at it. And then make that last call, make that last card or whatever. But anyway, you need accountability. And by the way, you guys as realtors should be holding each other accountable, especially if you're in the same brokerage. Like, share your goals and make sure everybody knows your goals, so you're working towards holding each other accountable. It's not a to be a pain in the butt. It's really the greatest form of love is to hold somebody accountable, right? It really is. Okay. So, and this is what that tool looks like. It's called a Greatness Tracker. I'm going to go through the stuff on here in the class, but this is what it looks like. So when you get a copy of it, you don't say, what is this thing? I don't remember this, okay? Okay, here's your metrics you need to make $250 grand a year as a realtor easily. Boom, boom. Okay, every week without fail, 15 face-to-face or Zoom meetings. I'm gonna go over these in detail. 5 break breads, 60 great conversations, 2 seminars or events, 21 hours of prospecting, 10 thank you cards, 500 videos a week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. How many leads did you generate and how many deals are you tracking for the week? Okay? So, let's just jump right in. Oh, before I jump right in, look at this.
500 videos.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Look at this. Okay, that's me back in the 80s. What, 80s? Well, 1990. That's when my daughter was born, Alexa.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and here I am when she had her firstborn, Brooks.
Cool.
So that was 2023. Gosh, time flies. Anyways, I look the same, don't I? Okay, all right. Okay, let's talk about these face-to-face meetings. I'm just going to pull them all up here. This is where the rubber meets the road. You really got to pay attention on this. Let me see. Oh, I went too far. Okay. Buyer consultations. I'm not going to talk a lot about those today, but those count as face-to-face. If you're not doing your buyer's consultation face-to-face, or if you can't meet face-to-face, or if you're not doing them on a Zoom meeting, you're missing the mark. The only thing that's going to differentiate you from all the homes.com and the realtor, Zillow.com and all the other crap that's out there, the portals, is sitting in their living room. Face-to-face, the connection. That's the advantage you have over all those folks. They can't do that. They can't get in their living room, right? Or, kneecap to kneecap with those real estate portals. But you can. So you have to capitalize on that, okay? But your top 100 favorite clients. It used to say 25 for me, okay, when I was first starting. And the first year I did 50 deals, it's like, well, that was easy. Heads or tails, who was my favorite, right, or whatever. But as you get into this, how many of you have your core 100 developed? You guys know what a core 100 is? Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute on this next one, relationships. But favorite clients. Anybody have an American Express card? Okay, American Express.
I left it at home.
You left it at home? Okay, I'll bill you. But American Express has these different levels of American Express cards. And the very, very top card, I think it's only 0.2% of all their customers have the very top card. But they're responsible for 63% of all the profits for American Express. That 0.2% of all their customers. Isn't that crazy? But they also get the most perks, right? They shower these people with perks. Why wouldn't you? Because they're paying the bills. They're keeping the doors open at American Express, right? And so, in your data bank, your clients, you need to segment your clients. Who are the best of the best? Who are your favorites, like the ones that send you the most business? When I first got into business, I found a hairdresser in town. I think that's what her preferred title was, or stylist. I can't remember now. Who was the busiest in town, the most expensive. I didn't care. I get my hair cut the same way for years, like just a crew cut, nothing special on what little hair I got left. Okay, but I would go in there twice a month to get my hair cut. And I think at that time, I got into business in 2012. A haircut with her was like 40 or 50 bucks, and then you had to tip her for just a regular old stupid little haircut, okay? But I went there because she knew everybody in town. She has a captive audience every time she sits someone in her chair, especially ladies, right? Because they're getting their hair colored and they're getting all kinds of stuff, like not me, right? But I would just sit and listen to her and talk to her, and eventually I warmed up to her, and I'm not going to tell you her name, but eventually one day she asked me, she goes, "What do you do? Remind me what you do again." I said, "I'm in the lending business. I do mortgages." She said, "Oh, okay." And the best way to ask for referrals is not to ask for the referral, right? You get to know someone, you build a relationship, and then the way I would ask her, I said, "Hey, just between me and you, ex-lady, is there anybody I should be talking to?" That's how I would ask, right? Because she knew everybody in town. She knew who was getting divorced. And guess what? When someone gets divorced,
Two deals.
they got to usually sell that house, and sometimes they want to go buy 2 more houses. So I was sending those referrals when I would get them first. When she started warming up to me and loving me, I was sending those out to people. They were unattached deals that were going out to my partners that were sending me a ton of business. She knew who was getting married. They probably want to buy a marital home a lot of times, right? She knew like who got a promotion, whose husband was, doing this, that, and the other. She knew everything. And she was awesome. I stopped going because I got so busy, and I should have never stopped going, but I did. And I hadn't seen her like for 6 months. And I went somewhere like at a restaurant or a bar and went up to order a drink with the group I was with, and she was there. And she was there with a group. And she introduced me to the group. She didn't say I was her past client. You got to get that verbiage out of your mouth. My past client. Because if I was a past client, that means I was a free agent. I can go anywhere to get my hair cut, right? So she said, oh, let me introduce you to my good friend Rick, right? And I hadn't been in there in 6 months. But I was a good friend because I was there religiously for a long time. But, so that's another little tip. But the point of that is, I'm going to move into this business relationship. Oh, so make sure you establish who your top favorite clients are, and you love on them differently at different levels, okay? Don't read into that, Dave, okay? Business relationships. How many of you have a vendor list?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. No, you don't.
Well, it's.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
You have a partner list. Stop saying vendor. Every time I always give people, and they always still say, I got a vendor list. I've been married 31 years, coming up on 32 years this December. If I treated my wife like a vendor, I probably wouldn't be married that long, right? We would not be together. I treat her like my partner. That's how you need to treat the people that you work with. If you're going to put them on the list and recommend them, treat them like a partner. Okay?
Right.
If you're my partner, I don't recommend 3 in one category. You can have 3 in one category on your partner list. You just don't recommend 3 at once. You recommend 1. And if something goes sour, you've got a fallback, right? Or it doesn't work. But don't do that. Don't set your partners up for failure so that they're all racing to the bottom because now, so-and-so just, is on tough times and they'll do a deal for $100 or whatever, I can make $100. They're not going to pay their bills with that, right? So stop doing that if you're doing that. But how many of you have a financial planner that you recommend to all your clients? Okay, if you don't have a financial planner, you should probably talk to one. I'm not saying that you need to go and invest and do all this with them or whatever, but find somebody you trust. Because the clients that I talk to, 90% of them don't have a financial planner when I meet them. But I always recommend that they do, because number one, when they buy a house, now they have an asset they didn't have, right? And in addition to that, how many of you have an estate attorney that you recommend? Okay, I do too. Because now their estate has just changed. If something happens to them, what happens to the house? Who gets it, right? All those things. And now all those things need to be, are they trust-based? Are they will-based? And that they need to talk to somebody who does that for a living. Don't try to get legal advice if you're not a realtor, or a lender, or a lawyer. Sorry. Okay. Is that a slip of the tongue there? All right. Yeah. All right. So, how many of you have an insurance person that you recommend? Okay. Well, here's the deal. I ask clients all the time: are you overinsured? Are you underinsured? Or are you just right? And you know what the common answer is?
I don't know.
I don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
So send them to somebody you trust, right? And by the way, I just bought an asset. Do you think my life insurance needs just changed if I didn't own a home before? Probably, right? So you need to start thinking you need to be the one-stop realtor, one shop. Like they go to you for all their advice. I can tell you my clients call me for everything. How many of you have your list built out? You have a landscaper, you have a painter, you have an electrician, you have a handyman, you have a blinds guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have it all built out and you trust those people. If you haven't done that, if all you did this year was build out your core 100 list, 1 in each category that you recommend, 1. When I was in the military, we needed something done, we knew who to go to for whatever it was. We didn't go, well, let's go to so-and-so, and if that doesn't work out, I'm going to go to Snuffy Smith. And no, we didn't do that. We had a person that was the person that delivered the best at whatever it was that we were trying to do. And when you work with, does this town have a lot of military people?
Indeed.
You're dang right it does. About 1 out of every 3 deals that is done in this town is a VA deal, VA loan.
Wow.
So you really got to get cozy with the military folks, and you got to think like they think. So if you give them a list of 3 names or for whatever category, they're already thinking, what's up with that? I'm telling you, subliminally, the good soldiers and the airmen. Airmen are second, whatever. But, we don't go talk about tomatoes or anything, but Scott's not here, I can say that.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. But your business relationships, you can get all the business you ever need from the business relationships. How many of you, when you built out your core 100, have taught your referral partner how to send you business? Sat down and asked him, what do you say when a client asks you, hey, I need a painter, what do you say? Have you done that with each one of your partners? If you haven't had that conversation, you need to have that conversation, and you need to ask them and give them clues on what they need to look for to send you business. And by the way, you should track every referral you send out. And quarterly at a minimum, you should call your referral partners, your core 100, and say, hey, Tommy, it's Rick Ward over here at Benchmark. I was just checking in. I've got somebody I'm going to send your way. He needs the whole exterior of his house stuccoed. Hey, listen, I'm starting something new this year. If you haven't done this, I'm telling you exactly what to say. I'm starting something new this year where I'm kind of tracking where I'm sending my business. And I'm also tracking the business that I'm getting back. And I was just checking, did I miss anything, Tommy? I don't think I've heard or seen anybody from you this year yet. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And then shut up. Stop talking. See what they say. I guarantee they're on the other end like they're nervous, right? They're like, oh shit.
So you know what helps you seal in your business with your business partners is doing a podcast with them, and the podcast.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But right, like, and then you don't put them on the spot and then stress them out. Just say, hey, listen, it's okay. It sounds like you and I are thinking the same. There hasn't been anybody. Listen, I just want to be your girl. Okay, ladies. When somebody's going to buy or sell a house, or you are going to buy and sell a house, just call me. But everybody I know that's talking about stucco is going to you. Are we good with that? I'm good with that. Because I guarantee you, if they're in the house business, trades, they're working with other realtors too. Don't you think? If they're really going to grow their business. Unless you do so many deals. If you're doing 200 and some deals a year, they don't need to work with anybody else, right? But that's not the case usually. So say that and just say, now it's on the top of their mind because you put it in their mind. Quarterly, you ask the question, minimum. Okay? And then you tell them, hey, listen, you're probably not naturally thinking about this, but if somebody calls you and wants their home stuccoed, can you just ask them, hey, is there a special reason why we're sprucing up the house? Oh no, my wife's just tired of whatever, I'm tired of this, I just want to have a no maintenance, whatever. Whatever they say. They might tell you, yeah, we're actually sprucing up because we're thinking about selling the house, we're moving. Oh my gosh, you got to call my guy Rob. He's the best in the business. I don't know if you noticed, he's already sold homes in this neighborhood. So I'm going to make sure that I connect you with him because I want you to get the best service, the best of the best. Make sense? Teach them with the things to ask that to get the business. I got car sales guys that have sent me business. You know what I taught them? Hey, when they sell a car, after they seal the deal, you got a garage to park that car in. Right?
Right.
And a lot of them don't. You're like, oh, we got to fix that, man. We get hail like crazy in Colorado Springs. We got to get you a home, man. Have you talked to my boy Rob? Have you talked to my girl Linda? Right? Seriously. Teach your car salespeople. Get good with them, okay? And they're good salespeople usually. Yeah. A lot of them. They get a lot of training. Okay. You getting the point? You're missing the boat on this business relationship. Here's another idea for you guys. How many of you did a spring cleaning special with your as a realtor in a neighborhood that you were farming with a landscaper? Okay. Do you think people love yard work? In general.
No.
Some don't. Some do. They just say it's therapeutic, but a lot of people don't. Right? So you could partner with somebody who does mows lawns and this and you could advertise spring is over. It's too late now, but I'm gonna tell you, spring cleanup special for the neighborhood that you're farming. You don't have to do it everywhere. Just pick a neighborhood that you're farming. Sponsored by ABC Landscaping Company and Selena Ortiz. Realtor. Blah blah blah. Right?
Sprinkler startup.
Yeah, sprinkler
Yeah,
startup you
that's
could
a
do,
big
whatever. Sponsor, subsidize the cost. Whatever your budget is. If you feel like you get one deal in a neighborhood, because of it, you made that money back and then some, right? Like seriously, think about that. It's worth it, right?
First in to respond.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, you teach the person who's answering the calls at the landscaping company. Yep. Oh, you got our flyer. Yes, awesome. That's fantastic. You want us to come out and do a spring cleanup or whatever. Perfect. No problem. Where are you located at? Oh, you know what? We put a flyer on your door, didn't we? Did you hear? Is that how you heard about this? Yep, heard about it. Okay. Did you see that was sponsored by, obviously us, and then, Doug Marsh? Oh, the realtor? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't see that. Whatever. Okay, great. Is there any particular reason why you're sprucing up the yard? Same question. Well, yeah, we are thinking about selling, getting ready to sell. Fantastic. You got to call Doug. Doug's the best. He's sold many houses in that neighborhood. I'm going to make sure I connect you. But anyway, here, what day do you want us to come out? Like, whatever. They got to ask the question for you. They're your partner. But you have to teach them. If you don't teach them, okay, we'll come out and mow the lawn, and they'll get all these lawns mowed. You'll subsidize them all, and then guess what? You didn't get squat. Okay? All right. Any questions on that? You guys have a roofer? I helped a roofer in town. He wanted to grow his business. I said, why don't you hire someone to clean gutters? People hate cleaning gutters. Charge $99. That people will pay it. But you teach your guy to get up on the roof and take pictures of the roof. And then, when you're done cleaning the roof, you come out here, I got a ladder here, I want you to make sure I did this to your satisfaction, blah, blah, blah. They look at everything and say, hey, by the way, while I was up there, I don't know if you saw this, and they show them the pictures of the roof. You've got some damage here, or potentially, I'm no expert, but you know who is? Susie Q over at, Swampy Creek Roofing. I'm going to have them come out and do a free evaluation for you, whatever, however you want to say it. But you close the deal there. And now that roofer's business grew 40% in 1 year, just doing that. You think they got margins on their business? They make bank. A good roofer makes good money.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. Enough ideas on that, the business relationships, but this is where you could spend all your time this year on that and grow you could double your business this year easily, especially if you're at 0. Okay. Yeah. Or 1 or whatever. Okay. What's up, Devin? Come on in. All right, networking events. We're still on the face-to-face stuff, okay, because this is the most important category of everything I'm going to talk about. So, how many of you go to those realtor events, the yacht club stuff, and all the realtors get together and do all that stuff, right? Like just whatever, there's a whole bunch of them, right? How many deals have you gotten out of those events? Probably from another realtor. 0. They're not going to send you any business. If you really want to go to networking events, go to other events that are not where all the realtors are not at. Or pull out a map. Here's Colorado Springs. How far are you willing to go? Pueblo? Maybe. Monument? Whatever. Castle Rock, just draw the circles. And as far as you're willing to go, find the networking events outside of Colorado Springs. I would go to that, maybe that realtor event. Make friends with those realtors because maybe they don't want to drive. They got a client that's coming down, buying on the south end of Colorado Springs. They don't want to do that. So now you've got a connection there that you can get business from. Does that make sense? So how many of you are going to financial planner events where financial planners gather together? How about divorce attorneys? How about estate attorneys? How about, I had a guy that I did a loan for. His name was Bob Thompson, great guy. He was a retired American Airlines pilot and a Vietnam vet. I was at his house, and he has no children. He has Newfoundlands. Like he's got 3 big dogs, and they're beautiful dogs. And he loves those dogs. Anyway, on his desk he had a publication, aviation something or other, for pilots. I picked it up, I was looking at it, there was a few ads in there or whatever, and I'm like, oh, are you in this club or whatever? He goes, yeah. He goes, we meet, whatever. And I said, oh, that's cool. I go, I'm an old crew chief. I'm like, I'd like to go to one of those meetings. He goes, no problem. Come, you're my guest next time I go. I went to the event with him. All these vendors, true vendors, because they're vendors, paid to be there at this event. A lender, a realtor, this, that, and the other. But I showed up with Bob, who everybody knew. And what did Bob do? He introduced me to everybody. And who got the business at that event? You think the people that paid were handing out their little flyers and their little, hey, look at this little trashy trinket, take it home with you. Oh, set this on your refrigerator, this magnet or whatever. No, they didn't get that business. I got the business. Okay? Go to the networking events. Okay? Seminars. If you're going to do seminars, try to be in the front of the room. You're the one speaking because you're the expert then. It doesn't matter. Like if you fake it till you make it and do it, the more you practice it, the better you'll get. Practice before you get on stage or whatever, but do the seminars. Doing one with Scotty here coming up, first time homebuyer seminar. We've been talking about that. Nobody's done one yet, but Scott's doing one, Scott Rymuth, okay? How about, how many of you are doing wealth building workshops for your clients? You know why? Because you're not working with a financial planner, because they can do the whole class for you, right? But that's a value add. Instead of calling your clients, ring, 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 ring. Oh, hey, I was just checking in, how are you, right? How many of you do that? You don't have to raise your hand. I know it happens all the time. Instead of calling with that call, say, hey, listen, Tommy, it's Rick over at Benchmark. I know you're busy. How's the kids? Yep. How's soccer going? Whatever, you need to know the personal stuff, right? Okay, great. Hey, listen, I'll be quick. We've got a workshop that we're putting on in whatever it is, right? I'd love to have you come there. I've got this guest speaker coming in. He's the bomb, she's the bomb, whatever, right? Something of value versus, hey, I was just checking in, how you doing? You know anybody who wants to buy or sell real estate, right? At least if you're doing those calls, you're way ahead of your peers because they don't make the calls. But step it up a little bit better and add value. Does that make sense? So have a reason to call. So the seminars, neighborhood kids or neighborhood or kid events. If you get the kids' hearts or do things for the kids, the parents love you. My daughter's really good at this. I'm not great at it because I'm only good with my grandkids. But there's people that do those and knock it out of the park. I'm going to one. There's a realtor that I work with who's doing a 4th of July event in her neighborhood. She did one, now she's doing another one, and now everybody's looking forward to the event. You guys have seen those and heard of those. I got a flyer yesterday. Did you see that flyer? Banning Lewis Realtor Rally or something? Mm-hmm. Whatever. But my point is, go to the neighborhood or kid events face to face, right? If you want to serve the community, you have to be in the community, okay? Open houses. How many of you are doing open houses? Okay, thank you for doing those. You will pick up unattached buyers. Rob had one of his realtors come in and teach a class. I think he said all 7 or 8 of his deals last year or something like that came from open houses. I think that was the
Made $100K.
Yeah,
Right.
made $100K on open
Just
houses.
doing open
That ain't bad. 100K, right? Like just from open houses, okay?
Right.
If you're not doing, there's a way to do them now. And I've got a different school of thought on some of that. But one of the things I would do, how many of you when you do an open house, you go knock the whole street? Do. You should. Are you doing that, Marisha?
I've done it in the past and it was 100% waste of time.
Okay, well here's what I want you to do differently when you do it. I would tell you it's not. And I would say make sure you have your business cards. Knock on the door, step back. You never want to be like right there by the door, right? And they answer the door, say, hey, listen, I'm Marisha. I sure you saw this 123 Swampy Creek Lane is for sale down the street. Your neighbors, Don and Sally, are selling the house. First of all, they wanted me to invite you. Second of all, I'm going to give you my business card. There's going to be a lot of people at this open house. And if you have any security concerns or anybody's blocking your driveway, I want you to call me. I'll take care of it. But I just want, and by the way, they personally wanted me to make sure you come by and stop by and see the house. That's it. Just keep it simple.
That's all I ever get,
Yeah.
are the neighbors.
Yeah.
I've always wondered what the kitchen looks like in here.
All right. There's a whole bunch more in a class at open houses. Devin's really good at them. Devin's got a kit that we put together for our realtors when we do those open houses. Don't be shy to ask Devin for the help on that.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
come sitting there with you. I love open houses. I get it.
And he picks up
Going out
this.
of them, yeah.
It's literally what you're saying and how you're saying it, and what you bring to the open house. All right. HOA meetings. If you're farming a neighborhood, are you going to the HOA meetings? Just go. Just show up. You know why you go to those meetings? Because the influencers are there. The people in the neighborhood that everybody listens to, or maybe they don't, but you know what I mean. Got the loudest voice.
The last voice, yeah.
Yeah, go there. And if somebody tries to stop and says, excuse me, who are you? My name's Dave Downey, right? Like, oh, or do you live here or whatever? I've heard people say they stop people sometimes, but just tell them, I'm thinking about, either buying or in this neighborhood or investing in this neighborhood, so I wanted to see what was going on at the HOA meeting. They'll let you in. So, anyways, go to the HOA meetings. Charity events, are you guys attending charity events? You can't just take money from the community and not give something back, okay? It's important. So pick one that you care about, go to it, and don't talk real estate when you're there. Just serve the people when you're there. They're going to ask you, what do you do? You can tell them what you do. I'm a realtor, Matter of fact, I helped your friend Susie. Like, I'll drop little hints, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then they go ask Susie or whoever, and then come back and say, well, I was thinking about eventually. And then your realtor conventions. I put that on there for lenders, but when you go to a realtor convention, and you go to out of state, that's your opportunity to network with all those realtors in other states so that you get a like when they want to refer somebody that's coming your way, you get the deal. Right? So you have to build that network out. Have you all done that? Like, I already have a network built out in the entire United States. So if you're in doubt and you don't know somebody, call me and ask me. If I don't know it right then and there, I'll look it up, or I'll talk to my guy or gal that's there and say, you know, hey, this is over here in this part of the state. Who should we be talking to? And I'll make the introduction, and I'll do the call, make sure they know you're expecting a referral fee. This isn't a handout, and boom, and then make the connection. You handle it from there. Does that make sense? Is that fair? All right, cool. But don't just look up like, this isn't Keller Williams, but I see people that work at Keller Williams or wherever they work, and that's not a knock on them, and they'll just look in their directory and say, oh, there's Susie Q in Philadelphia with Keller Williams. I'm going to call her or him. We'll do the research for you if you need to make sure your reputation's online. You want to make sure it goes good. Okay? All right. Questions on any of this face-to-face? 15 a week. If you're a full-time realtor, there's no reason you can't do it. If you're a part-time whatever, then you're going to make part-time money. Well, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what you want to do. Okay? All right, cool. I'm just telling you how you can make the big bucks. All right. 5 break breads a week. People do business with people they like. That's a true statement. I know people that are the sharpest mortgage people on planet Earth. Oh yeah, well, they can do all the calculations in their head. They got everything memorized, every guideline, this, that, and the other. And they got the personality of a doorknob. And people don't do business with them. Right? Or I've gotten deals because I just called somebody and I was looking at their Facebook profile and I saw that their daughter played basketball. Well, my daughter played basketball. So all I did was, when I started talking to them, was talked about basketball. We had something in common, and they were like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And then we started talking this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, I'm getting all their business, and I didn't have to ask for it. Well, you're a lender, right? Okay, great. And then they would send their stuff our way. So anyway, but those people do business with people they like. And by the way, they eat with people they like. So I have never had a meal. I shouldn't say never. Let me take that back. I can count on one hand meals that I've had with people that I didn't like, only because my boss made me go, right? Or something like that. So just remember that. And here's the thing, when people are in a food setting or a happy hour or something like that, they drop their guard. You get to really know who they really are, right? So just remember that. If you don't want to do a lunch with someone, you should never eat alone. If you're building your business, don't eat alone. Because that's a wasted opportunity. All right? And if you invite someone to lunch or one of these things, don't sit there and hem and haw over who's paying. Just pay the damn thing. And if you don't have the budget for it, then maybe you do a breakfast, because breakfasts are cheaper. Unless you go to like one of these fancy snooze, what's that place called?
Snoozing.
What the hell, like breakfast? That's ridiculous, right? Or I go to Cracker Barrel for breakfast. Anyways, and then really
What
good. I
about
love Cracker
burnt
Barrel.
toast?
Yeah.
It's like, really, who came up with that?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
are you going to dinner?
Probably the British.
Rancid meat steakhouse? Don't get it, I don't understand.
Coffee. You guys got a lot of lenders been calling you, hey, you want to meet for coffee? I do them too, but I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. It's interesting when you go to those coffee shops, you can hear other realtors and lenders talking. I always try to listen, right, and see what they're saying. And you know what they always want to talk about? Their rates, their service, and their programs. That's fantastic. But you keep doing that. I love it when they do that because they're going to get crushed. They're going to get crushed in this market. All right. Happy hours. If you do a happy hour, you could do them quarterly. And if you don't want to do it by yourself, do it with your brokerage, right? You know, get together as a group. You pick the same place, the last Thursday of the month, or whatever you decide of the quarter. Whatever you do, pick it. Give 2 tickets. That's it. You cut, and then you don't pay for anything after that, right? And then the cost of admission, and here you invite all the clients that you sold homes or bought homes with over the quarter, right? And it's tell them, bring one of your friends with you, somebody I haven't met. Okay, that's it. And then you also invite all your prospective clients that are currently shopping, or maybe they're thinking about it. Invite those that are in your pipeline. Because now you got past clients that love you, that are there singing your praise, and it's not you just beating on your chest saying, ooh, Rick Ward, I'm great. Okay? You got it on that? In client parties, are you guys doing your housewarming client parties? How many of you, when you close on a deal, you do a housewarming party?
I've done it in the
I've done it.
past.
I don't
Sometimes they
with
work,
buyers
sometimes they don't.
anymore.
But it
Yeah.
depends on how you execute
All
on
my clients are moving away.
That's right.
it. All right,
They must miss something. I
So
do
said.
them,
Parties.
do them when you can. Do them when you can,
Also, with
okay?
the parties.
And if you're gonna do them, you go in it with your partner, right? So if I was a realtor, I have my lender there with me. They invite all their friends and family and neighbors, right? And you do a drawing, okay, at the housewarming. And even if they have never used you, the way you say, hey, listen, to get a ticket in, put a ticket in a drawing, all I ask is that you write a review. So you have your QR code or whatever to write your review for your Google page while you're there. Even if they haven't used you, you'll have people say, how am I going to write your review? I don't even know you. Well, I'm hosting a great party. You're going to have a good time. Look how I'm dressed, whatever, right? Make them laugh and then say, and if you have a good time, all I want you to do, or talk to Tommy, who invited you, and ask him how his experience was. You can just share that. He's trying to stack up reviews because that's all Google cares about, okay? Anyway, just an idea. You don't have to do it. These are ideas for your break breads. Don't make excuses. Coffee is cheap. Unless you go to Starbucks, so don't go to Starbucks. All right. Or Dutch Brothers. I don't know the thing about that place everybody loves, but. All right. You got that?
They're trafficking drugs.
Oh, well. I had to sneak this in there. There's my grandson, Brooks. There's a few pictures. This is my favorite picture of this little guy. He's sitting there flexing. He had RSV. He's got his oxygen. He goes, I got this. So,
That's funny.
He's a
That's
cool little
funny.
dude.
He's flexing.
God, he's 17 months now.
That's
All right.
funny.
Okay, great conversations. Let's talk about that. How many did I say you had to do a week?
60.
60. So, you don't have a database, you have a data bank. You don't have past clients, you have prospective clients, and you have current clients. A prospective client is somebody you've done business with. You don't call them a past client, they're your prospective client. If you call them a past client, again, have you ever done a deal with somebody, they said they'd use you again, and then 2 or 3 years later, you see someone else's sign in the yard? Because you didn't stay in touch. That's the bottom line. And you treat them like a past client. You didn't treat them like a prospective client. Like you're going to get their next upsize, their next downsize, their next out-of-state transfer, and get the referral to the next person that's wherever they're going, right? So,
Hey,
remember
Doug gave me, Doug says, hey, you listed this house. I sold him that house. I was like, oh yeah, I listed it.
Who's got this?
fisticuffs here, okay?
Who's wrong? How'd that happen?
But these are people you can call, right? And again, remember when you call the people that you've already worked with, we're not just calling to check in. You can do that one time maybe, but after that, have a reason for the call. If you don't have anything going on, maybe there's a community event going on. Hey, I was just checking in. Did you see the Territory Days coming up downtown? Have you ever been to that? Especially if they're new in town. They're open to any ideas you can suggest to them, right? Okay. Your top 100 clients. You can just call them to say, I just wanted to call and say thank you. Thank you for what? I'm so glad that I know you. I'm so glad that we work together. It always means a lot to me when you send someone my way to trust to take care of them. Like whatever you say whatever you want, but stay in touch with those folks because remember the American Express card. 63% of all their profits come from 0.2% of all the card holders. Okay, your business relationships. You don't always have to call somebody that's on your core 100 and one in each category just to send them business. You can call just to check in on them and ask how they're doing. That's okay, right? But those are calls you can make. They will appreciate it because they're in the trenches with you. If your business is on the rocks or just not where you want it to be, odds are theirs might be struggling a little bit too, maybe. Or maybe they're not, and they'll get you pumped up and they'll say, oh man, I'm so glad you called. I was just thinking about you. I got somebody I want you to talk to, right? So make those calls. Builders, stay in touch with the builders. I've had builders sales reps send me business even though they had an in-house lender because I stayed in touch with them. Okay? For you guys, I would just make sure you stay in touch with, build those relationships. They will love on you occasionally. Listing agents, on the other side, this is again, that's more for lenders, so we'll skip that one real quick. Annual mortgage review. I do an annual mortgage review. But are you guys doing an annual real estate review, portfolio review with your clients?
talking about like a CMA?
Right.
Well, it's what you want it to be. So that would be a great example. I would do a CMA, and I wouldn't just send it to them. You set an appointment. Go over it with them, okay? And in addition, if you've done a deal for anybody who did a VA loan in this town, and they got out of the service and they were active duty before, they might have a disability rating now that would get them exempt from their property tax. And a lot, veterans don't know their benefits, most of them. They just don't. So you being the expert could say, hey, listen, or they tell you they got out of the service. Oh my gosh, well, did you put in your VA disability claim yet, and did you get a rating? Because if they're at 100%, they get a property exemption, a tax exemption on their property. So you could ask that question, right? You could ask them questions about this. This is an easy one. Did your insurance go up? Right? Did everybody's insurance been going up, right?
Yeah.
That's an easy question. Oh, they did? Listen, what I'd like to do as part of this review is introduce you to Tommy or whoever, Susie, whoever your insurance person is. Let them review your stuff again. They shop 25 different carriers. Let's see if they can save you any money. See if there's any advantage of talking to them. No harm, no foul. Doesn't cost you anything. Let's do that. Are you doing that with your real estate reviews? And then the other thing is, by the way, we send a survey out prior to the review, and we ask them things like, are you thinking about upsizing? Are you thinking about downsizing? Do you have kids that are going off to college that you need to figure out how you're going to finance that college? Are you interested in a second home, investment property, vacation homes? Like those, who's your financial planner? That's another opportunity when you do your reviews. And then if they told you and you take notes and you remember and you put it in your CRM, when you call them for the annual review the next year, and you say, hey, you mentioned that your financial planner was, Tommy Groves, whatever. How's that working out? Is it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being rock star, best decision I ever made, 1 being, I'm not quite sure what I was thinking. Where do you rank them? If they say 8, 9, or 10, then your next thing is, wow, that's pretty darn good. It's really hard to get a 10 these days anyways. I don't think anybody gets a 10. Right. So 8, 9, they're right up there. I would like to meet your financial planner. Can you send me their name and number? Because I always have clients that are asking about financial planning. And I want to make sure they're fit for me too, so that if I recommend somebody, I'm going to recommend them on behalf of you because you introduced me to, XYZ. Okay? Got it? You doing that? Do it. If not, it's okay. Start doing it. Insurance quote. I talked about that. Open house leads. We did a study last year. This this coaching group I'm in is called Elite Coaching. And these are people all over the country, top producers. We did an open house, had a list of leads of people that came through, called a month later to see if they'd heard from the realtor. 80% of them said they never heard from the realtor that did the open house. They're not following up on the leads. Now, part of that might be this. Maybe the realtor called and left a message or didn't leave a message, they didn't answer. Right? That could have been part of it. But that just goes to prove the point. You cannot convert leads, CW. You cannot convert leads if you don't stay in touch, and you got to stay after them. After them. Like until they tell you hell no, then you keep calling. Okay? So birthdays, are you calling all your prospective clients on their birthdays?
I give them a text and I don't know, like me personally, like on my birthday, I think it's annoying when vendors call me and say happy birthday like
they're a vendor.
on my
Right,
birthday.
Because they're a vendor.
exactly.
Because they're a vendor.
Exactly.
But me as a partner, when I call my people and I call them all on their birthdays, oh my God, how you doing? Yeah, it's my birthday. Oh, I knew you were going to call me today because after we've called them every day, it's all in what you say and how you do it and the relationship that you've built.
It'd be better if it was the day before or the day after, in my opinion.
I don't call them on the weekend. I wait till the Monday. I say I didn't want to bother you on the weekend during your birthday,
Okay,
but I'll
just-
call them on Monday.
So, everyone gets like 500 phone calls
Yeah,
on my birthday, and I
You assume they
hate it.
do. They don't. I've called people. They said you're the only one that called me on my
That
birthday.
is true. Everybody does it on Facebook
Thanks,
and
Mom.
stuff.
They do Facebook or they send a text.
But if they call, I guess I'd be like,
I think about how many
that's
people,
crazy.
I got none on my birthday.
Right.
See?
I had one
don't
2 weeks
get it.
ago. Yeah.
I'll call you.
Oh,
on
happy
Monday.
belated birthday.
33! Getting old.
You're about my daughter's 35. You're about the same age.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so, but do it, and you could, if you're going to do a text. By the way, all those face-to-face meetings we talked about, when you get in the parking lot, when you're getting ready to leave the meeting, do a video text. How many of you are doing that?
Say it again.
Do a video text. Hey,
You know, I tried
Before
to
I-
do it on my phone and I wouldn't do it.
Okay, get an iPhone. I had the same
I
thing with
hate
it.
iPhone.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old can do it.
I had to get to an iPhone. There's a way to do it, but I didn't know how to do it, so I got an iPhone. Hey, Dave, listen, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I'm super excited about, whatever you told me, that we're gonna, this open house you got coming up, looking forward to supporting you on that, and a long, healthy, partnership, my friend. Talk to you later. Bye. Recap the meeting, what they talked about as an action item that you said that you needed to do. It's a great reminder for you and them. And then you send it while it's fresh in your mind. And by the way, no one does it. Rarely do they do it. So you're trying to differentiate yourself from all the other realtors in town.
Yeah, but I have a face for newspaper.
It'll leave my-
You're a handsome devil, Dave, okay? All right. But do it.
Glasses though.
All right, loan status updates. Are you guys doing those? Do you have a day of the week that you call and do your loan status updates? Or your transaction status updates? Turn those into business calls. Remember how I told you how to ask your vendor? Like if you got a home inspector you use all the time, like if you're doing some business, they want that business. And you put their toes to the fire a little bit so they're paying attention to you. Because they work with more than one realtor. So when you do it the way I told you to ask them, remember? Hey, listen, I'm starting something new. I'm kind of tracking where I'm sending my business. Looks like this is number 8 that I've sent you this year. But I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Have you sent me anybody that was talking about buying or selling, or is there anybody I should be talking to? Remember?
What's the loan status update example?
So that's like when you're in a transaction
Yeah.
and you're calling to make sure that hey, did you read your title commitment when you get a title commitment? All the things that happen during the loan to close on the deal, they're checking to make sure things are moving along and they're meeting all the deadlines in the contract.
We tend to ignore it until closing.
Yes.
We let everybody else do the work.
But if you got involved as the realtor and it's a quick call, I'm telling you, it's so much better. I got away from it as a lender because I had people on my team doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I make the calls myself, it's way more impactful.
Okay.
Okay.
Rick, another point is like when loan status updates go out for our loan, right? I'll call the realtor or whoever my partner is on it and be like, hey, do you want to give them a call and just say, hey, did you see the email that came out from Benchmark? Did you see this? Just want to make sure. And that's a nice touch because they're tagged on the email, they can see it. So
Right.
most of my partners,
Right.
they just get it now when they call, or they call as soon as
You
they see
would
the email.
believe
100%.
how amazed I am when a lender's calling me going, hey, the appraisal came in and
Yeah.
this and that, and I'm like, oh, that lender's awesome. Because I don't
They do
know.
love it. And
Oh, I love
by
it.
the way, send them a reminder, the realtor as well, when it's someone's birthday, that a client that you work together
Oh,
with.
yeah.
Because they're not tracking it, most of them. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
We're out prospecting.
But this is part of your
We don't have time to
prospecting.
do
Yes,
that.
yes.
Exactly.
Okay, 2 seminars and events per week. Okay? Let's just put some examples up here.
A week?
Yes.
That's the hard one.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's
the hard
the
one
hard
to kind of be, oh, what's up, Sylvia?
All right, let me go through some of these.
What up, Devin?
Okay, we already talked about first-time home buyer seminars. By the way, the largest pool of buyers last year were first-time home buyers. You know, you hear all these, and the first-time home buyers can't buy homes. Well, they're still the largest pool of people buying homes. If I'm gonna fish in a pond, I wanna fish where the most fish are.
Yeah.
So this is where your most fish are, so you gotta be doing those. Okay? Wealth Builders Workshop, I already talked about that. You need a financial planner to help you with that. Lunch and Learns. When you work with a client, you want to find the ones, when you're working with somebody that has influence and they work somewhere and they got like people that work for them. Hey man, would you be okay if I came in and I brought in lunch and I talked about, buying a home in Colorado Springs, or if they're all veterans, if I come in and talk about the VA home loan, or if they're all investors, if I come in and talk about the DSCR loan, or whatever, like whatever that group is and whatever their specialty is might be. But you don't get what you don't ask for. And by the way, if you paid for a lunch for 20 people, at $400, whatever it is, and you got one deal out of it, do you make more than $400 on a deal?
Yes.
Yes. And by the way, if you don't get the immediate deal, as long as you get everybody's information, you stay in touch with them, you're drip marketing on them with your CRM and you're paying attention, you're making calls, you're going to get business. Okay? BNI group. Do you guys know what a BNI group is? Are any of you in a BNI group? Okay. Okay. So BNI, I saw some hands that didn't know what it is. It's basically, remember I told you your core 100 where you have one category for every trade? These are actual groups that meet and you only get one person, and Rob and I are in a BNI group. And he's the only realtor in that meeting. I'm the only lender in that meeting. We've got a car sales guy. We've got a landscape guy, like one in every category. It's a big group. It's one of the biggest in Colorado Springs.
Tom Perkins is the car sales guy.
Yeah, Perkins Dodge. We used to have Louisa Graff, but we kicked her out. No.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But, like seriously, like these people that have been in town forever in this group that we're in, right? It's a good group to be in. I like the group. And,
Quick question, Rick. How do you get into those groups, like BNI?
yep, through your,
Business Networking International, you can go to their website, and there's a whole bunch of chapters all over Colorado Springs. The realtor is the hardest one to get into because
Usually
every
have-
realtor wants to be in there.
Usually
Let me-
have to knock a couple people off.
well, and you know, there's some truth to this. They interviewed 5 lenders for prospectors. I was the last. I said, let me go last. Let me be the last interview. And when they interviewed me, I flipped the script on them and I interviewed them because I found out who was interviewing me, and I looked at their business, their profiles, their everything about them, and I gave them tips on their business and this, that, and the other, and they were like, well, I think we're done here. Like, it was a done deal. I was in. Okay? So, but once you get in one, don't lose it. Stay in it. The bigger the group, the better. Right? Because there's just more potential leads that are coming in. Without a lead, you don't have a business. Okay? The way to really make and you don't have to go to BNI. You can go to other groups. The concept is, it's a business networking group. One in each category. And, which by the way, I'm not a fan of the BNIs because they're super strict. Like really strict, and
They'll teach you.
yeah,
It's good.
Yeah, it's good to cut your teeth on, I guess.
Yep,
But when you get in that group, you know how you get business from the group? I'm gonna tell you right now. And it's the same thing with some other things I'll talk about here in a little bit. Meet one-on-one with everybody in the group. And then when you're meeting one-on-one with everybody in the group, it's never about you, it's always about them. Tell me your background, where you from, tell me about you got kids, like everything and anything you can learn about them and their business. Or how did they get to the business they're at? And what's the ideal client look like for you and your business? Because now my radar's up, right? And I'm listening and I'm watching for anything and every opportunity I can that I can send to the plumber, Josh, in our group, right? Or to the painter, Dan, in our group, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? And I know what's a good fit. Financial planners, some financial planners want you to have a certain amount of assets before they even work with you. Some. So you just need to know that, and that's how you get business and help them grow their business, okay? Rotary Club, I don't even know what the Rotary Club is. I think it's like a neighborhood kind of community service kind of group, I think. I don't know, but people told me they work out really good. Happy hours, we already talked about that. These are events. Charity events we talked about. Client appreciation party we talked about. Oh, well, do you guys do, I know you do a barbecue sometimes, right? Or you do it once a year or sometimes?
Yeah.
You got to do those, man. People love it when you love on them. They just do, right? And they will talk about you. You don't need to go out and buy leads. You don't need to do some of the stuff that you hate. I know a team in town that all they do 4 client appreciation parties a year, and they get more referrals than anybody I've ever seen. Well, they used to, and I don't know if they still do it. The Rodriguez Group. That's how they built their business, doing those client appreciation events, and they go all out on those.
We have a agent in here, one of my agents, Rachel, she'll rent the golf course across the street and she'll spend $7,000 and she has hundreds of people and food, and I'm like, how do you spend that kind of money? Well, she makes tons of money. It's like $7,000 is a drop in the bucket for the amount that she
100%.
makes, yeah.
Yep, 100%, and it's a write-off.
Right, yeah.
All right, bus tour. Are you guys doing any bus tours? Like you got a bunch of investors and you know there's some investor properties that you want to take them around on? That's an idea. Foreclosures. You can take people around to see that. Parade of homes. I know people that rent buses, take people around for the parade of homes. Or just go to new build construction stuff. Those are ideas for you to do events. Keynote speaker. I've hired keynote speakers to come in at events that are not real estate related. I hired this magician that came in one time, but he was all about body language. And he said, and at that event, he was talking about if you're talking to somebody and they're like this, and their feet are pointing away from you, they literally can't wait for the next minute to get away from you. Like he was talking about when you're talking to somebody, if they tilt their head, they're actually listening very intently to you. They're paying attention. Thank you. Like there was some other stuff, like it all matters, right? It all pay attention to that stuff. Okay, but bring in a keynote. I've brought in Gold Star, folks to speak, like just all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool. And then job fairs. Have any of you ever done job fairs? Like set up a job fair, talk to a bunch of employers. I thought about we should do that at our group, at our prospectors. Anyways, but then we did it one time. They had wristbands, colored like one color was I'm looking for a job, one was I'm hiring, and the other one was whatever.
Oh,
I
that's
don't even
wild.
remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And we had hot dogs and burgers and beers,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
it was really cool. All right. So those are some ideas for you guys. Can come up with your own ideas. These are just some that I've come up with.
Get you thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stuff that I've done.
Pick your brain.
Okay.
How do you get people to actually show up?
You got to market to it. I hire someone to usually do that kind of market. I'm not a marketer, like when it comes to that stuff. I'll get to the influencers that I know and I'll call them and have them go out and get people there. I'll work with title reps, because what are title reps? So they're out talking to everybody. People like that to help them, to help drive traffic into your meetings.
One of my agents was holding an event, and I went down there and he said, "Oh, this whole event's free." And I go down to this church, and there's all these vendors with tents everywhere, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people from the community. And I said, how did you get this together? He goes, "Well, I hired that event planner over there for $1,500, and she put it all together."
Oh yeah, there are all those people.
I couldn't believe it. It's humongous.
Yep, we've had good luck with it, and then I just call. I'm on the phone all the time. Okay, here's some other ideas. How many of you are members of the Chamber of Commerce? First time I joined the Chamber of Commerce, I got the list of everybody who was in the chamber. And I called them up, everybody, one at a time. Hey, it's Rick Ward with Benchmark Mortgage. Hey, I just want to touch base real quick. I just joined the chamber. I told Susie Q, whoever the president is, whoever signed you up, that I was going to make a difference. I wasn't just going to sign up and just show up at a couple events. Listen, I see that you've got a consulting business or whatever their business is. I want to see what your calendar looks like. I want to meet with you face to face so that we can start building that relationship and I know what the ideal client is that you're looking for. I've got my calendar in front of me. I'm available, and then you just spit out a couple options, right? Book the appointment. Do that with everybody in the chamber. Now all of a sudden when they do have an event, you go there, people know you. Oh, hey Rick, hey, what's up, Rick? Big Rick. That's my nickname. So, all right. Okay. So you can do it with the states. States have Chamber of Commerce. Trade groups, I talked about this. If you can get in with a CPA or a financial planner group, like the trade groups, they can send you a lot of business because they are always talking to people that are trying to find ways to hide money or move money where they're not paying taxes on it, right? A mastermind group. Have you created your own mastermind group in town? Stop having a scarcity mindset about, oh, if I do this and I teach somebody this, another lender or another realtor is going to get that idea and they're going to run with it, I'm going to lose my business. 85% of the people never execute on any of this stuff. Just facts. And then the ones that try to execute on it, they try it for a little bit, and then they give up. It's hard. It didn't work. If you actually did this, all the stuff I'm talking about, you did it for 90 days straight. Didn't miss a beat every week, you did it. It's impossible for your business not to grow. Impossible. Okay? All right. Book club. I know people that start book clubs. They've got one in my neighborhood. I just saw an email or a newsletter go out in my neighborhood, and it said, we're starting a men's book club. I'm like, they ain't going to be reading no damn books. I know what they're doing. They're going to be smoking cigars. And drinking. I know what they're doing. Trying to tell their wives, anyways. But
Book club.
Yeah, right.
business
I read
luncheons.
this great coffee table book the other day.
Okay, let's jump on.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, not to put you on the spot. And I know the next page we can do it ourselves.
Well, and it's not in order. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Could you do your 30-second elevator pitch?
Me personally?
Yeah, or I just don't know what is 30 seconds sound
When
like?
someone asks you, what do, you need to be prepared to tell them what you
Yeah.
do, right?
Okay.
Hey, listen, I specialize in helping veterans purchase a home and get a little piece of the land that they help defend. To me, it means something to me because I sleep good at night. Do you sleep good at night? Of course you do. So let's get back to those that are looking out for us. That's kind of just a quick little thing.
Okay.
Like short and sweet.
Okay.
Okay? Not, well, I do VA loans, right? Okay, all right. Oh, look at that. I slipped that in there. That's my wife and my son, Jacob. My son is 26. Yeah, he's 26.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. Look at that.
Wow, yeah.
That's my wife there.
Robbing
Boy,
the
she was a
cradle.
little hot. That still looks like, she still looks like that.
She still looks just like that.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of race through some of these things because we were supposed to end at 11:30, but pay attention, there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I want to point out on this, okay. If you're gonna do your calls, the only way that it happens is if you block it off on your calendar. So you set an hour or 2 hours a day that you're gonna do the calls. I'm gonna tell you the best time to make phone calls. You know how I know this? I worked in a call center for 11 years. And we cold called everybody across the country. And the best time to reach people, it's never changed the entire time I was there. It's from 8 to 10 in the morning, or from 4 to 6 in the afternoon. And then, if you got people you've been trying to call all week long and you couldn't get a hold of them, the best day, the highest contact rates are on Saturday from 8 to 12. Don't question it, just do it. If you call during those hours, your pickup rate on people answering the phones is going to be higher. And you can't close a deal, you can't even get anything started if you don't have a conversation. It's harder to do it. So you got to have the conversations. Just trust me. Block it on your calendar. Ladies, how many of you have a hairdresser you go to? Anybody? Do you miss those appointments? No. Probably because it's hard to get in, or because I ain't missing it. Well, that's how you need to treat your power hours when you do your calls. If it goes on your calendar, it's non-negotiable. You do it. It's discipline. Even if you got somebody that came in and said, well, I need help with this contractor, right? Put it off. Do your payday activities first. Always. Everything else can happen afterwards. Okay? When you do your calls, turn off your email. Turn off the notifications. Put all that crap aside. If you're in an office and you work with other people, put a sign on the door. Do not disturb. Nothing distracts you from those calls. If you're working from home, your kids need to know it. Your dog needs to know it. Fido, stay out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay. All right. Enough said on that. But anyway, block that time. When I was tracking this, again, this is all things I did when I built my business. I had this little chess piece thing here. And I hit the timer when I was on payday activities, green. When I was spending my time on productive phone calls, those sort of things. When I was at my desk doing administrative stuff or checking email, it was red.
Oh, that's cool.
And then at the end of the day, it's a
That's
visual
cool.
for you to look at and see which one's higher. If we're supposed to spend 80% of our time prospecting, it should be 80% of the 6 hours here and 2 hours there, right?
Wow.
So it's a
That's
great
cool.
visual and it's easy to do. You don't have to think about it. Hit this button, hit that button, hit this button, hit
Right.
that button. Then you do this every day, okay?
That thing really helps. When Rick told me to get one when I first
Oh,
came
I
into the
totally want to
industry,
get one now.
It was probably like 2 months in. I'm like, man. He's like, well, what are you doing with your time? And I was like,
Right.
well, I do a call here, a call there. He's like, get a chess timer.
Yeah.
And then like, if you're not measuring what you're doing during the day, you don't know where you're going wrong. Sometimes I'm
Right.
like, man, I'm just not like I don't have anything on the books right now. What the heck's going on? Look at my
Look at
log.
your
My
red.
time to the end of the day, it's like I only spent 2 hours prospecting
Yeah,
every
right.
week.
That's
You know,
awesome.
rest was
Yeah.
all.
And you
admin.
wonder why your pipelines aren't where you want them to be.
Yeah,
That's easy to
That-
figure
that's
out.
mind blowing
Cool.
stuff.
What's getting in the
Yeah.
way? You got to take the excuses out and eliminate the things that are getting in the way. All right? All right. Thank you cards. So, here we go. Anytime you meet someone face to face for the first time, you should do a handwritten thank you card and mail it to them. Okay? Do the video text in the parking lot, like I told you. All right? And then anytime you get the first referral, you should send a handwritten thank you card. Okay? My mother-in-law moved in with us 4 years ago. Granny Franny. And before she moved in, I swear, I checked the mail every day. It was about this thick. And all it was bills usually. Now when I check the mail, the stack is this big. I'm going through Fran. Rick, bill for Rick. Renee's bill, but Rick pays. No, I said that. And I'm going. And anyway, then when you get a handwritten card, I stop. Oh, let me set that one aside. And I open those, always.
Right.
So just think about that. People get away from it, but it works. It sets you apart from everybody else. Okay?
So I went to a $2.4 million listing with Jessica,
Uh-huh.
and she met at an open house, and she said, how did you pick me? And they went, you sent us this handwritten card 2 years ago. They were holding it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy? And
Isn't that crazy?
it's a true story.
Wow.
I didn't pay him to say that. Okay.
It's a dime.
Now, I'm kind of going quick because I want to
Yeah,
try to
sorry.
honor the time. Okay. If you're not doing monthly mailings, you should. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can do it evidence of success. So people don't know what they don't know. Man, you don't have to give like names of people. You say, hey, I just helped this family and we ended up closing on a deal where they only had 3% down, whatever. Or another realtor told them there was no way, and another realtor and lender team said there's no way it can make it happen. And then they fell in, or we met with them and then we were able to put this deal together and here's how we did it. Like, people read those things and say, okay, like these guys know what the hell they're doing. I'm gonna, that's an example of that, of evidence of success. A letter from the heart is just, hey, talking about your family. People love to talk about their kids and their pets. So talk about those two things, you never go wrong. They love that stuff. Birthday cards, you can mail birthday cards, you can do holiday cards. Rob talked about there's a program called Send It cards, or send out cards, yeah. So you can just automate all that stuff if you want for those things. Okay, but, and if you're gonna send something in the mail, put a rubber band in it the first time. The second time, put 2 rubber bands in the letter. The third time, put 3. It's called lumpy mail. People open lumpy mail.
Oh.
Because they'll feel something in there. They're like, what is that? And then they'll finally eventually call you. You put 4 rubber bands, 5 rubber bands. Hey, what are these rubber bands for? I just want you to call me. Look, it worked. I haven't talked to you in
People
6
say
months.
put a stamp in there, or put
Yeah.
things, something in there.
You know what I
Yep.
do is a dollar lotto scratcher.
Oh, that's cool.
I've done that for 7 years.
People love those.
So
Awesome.
everyone knows if they're getting a card from me, there will be a lotto scratcher in there.
That's awesome.
That's a good idea,
cool.
too.
They'll open it.
You guys know what that is?
It's kidney.
It's kidney. You know what percentage of the population is born with 1 kidney?
A small percent.
13%.
1 out of every 1,000.
Whoa.
I have 1 kidney.
Wow.
Okay. I had to break it up. I can't just talk shop all the time. All right.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I didn't know I was born with 1 kidney until I was like 46, 47.
Wow, that's crazy.
I
In the
know.
military, they didn't know that?
No.
Crazy.
It was in the 80s.
And I promise
They
you
took
they-
anybody.
I hope you don't leave with that at your dinner parties.
Yeah.
That's a cool picture. Come on, Gina. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna skip something in here,
Punch
but
him in his kidney.
I'll just talk
Yeah.
about,
You know what,
That's the one.
that just occurred to me that's
how are we doing on time?
kind of unreal.
It is 12. 11:22. 11:22. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Dave, I'm gonna send you out of the classroom. No, it's just, so,
Go to the office.
okay, real quick.
I know the way.
If you track every lead, a sign call, the one you get from somebody and then they end up using their brother or their sister who's a realtor, like you track all your leads, you religiously track them. If you're converting at a 25% conversion rate, you're doing really good, okay? That's the target. So I just keep that number in mind. And so I always categorize my leads when they come in. You don't have to memorize, you can come up with your own codes. But the reason why I track where the code is coming from is so I know where I need to spend my time. If I'm getting all my deals from prospective clients, but I'm working with this realtor over here that wants $2,000 a month for Zillow leads or whatever, and we close 2 deals, 3 deals a year, probably not a good investment or return on my investment, is it? But I wouldn't know that if I don't track it, where they're coming from. So track where your leads are coming from. Okay?
Is that not on our
Wait,
page?
can
I've got a lead tracker form I can send you
Can you go
to.
back one more, please?
He's taking it there.
Got
I
it?
can't write fast enough for you.
That's all right. Okay, one thing I want to point out in this lead tracker form that you'll get a copy. I'm going to send it to Rob and he can send it to you. The number of calls. Most realtors will make 1 or 2 calls. You got to track how many times you're calling, when you're calling, and determine, like, if you got somebody, like I said, that you haven't got a hold of all week, call them on Saturday between 8 and 12. You're going to get them on the phone. They'll pick up. Okay? But number of calls is important because, I'm going to get out of this. I get out of this one here too, sorry. I already talked about this. Closing percentage. So realtors know 3 and 6% math, right? Okay. So if you're trying to figure out what your conversion rate is, just track your leads, however many leads you have for the month. You divide the number of deals that you did that month by the leads. It's going to give you a number, and if you multiply that times 100, ding, 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 it tells you your percentage.
Whoa.
Okay? So that's all you need to know. If you're at 25% or higher, you're doing great. If you start out and you're at 5%, okay. Well now, but if you're tracking it, you can see your progress, right? As you're getting better at your conversion. You get better at conversion with connecting with the client. What do you say? Are you the expert? And is it always just business or are you emotionally connecting with them? Why are they trying to buy a house? I always know that. As a lender, lenders don't ask that question. I do. Well, why is it that you want to buy a house? What would it mean to you if we get you into this home, right? So realtors sometimes ask that question or they forget. And you have to remember that. You always bring them back to that, especially when this market gets super competitive with the multiple offers and they're getting shot down, they didn't get their offer accepted. You got to keep them motivated. And the only way to keep them motivated is if you know their motivation, not yours. Not yours trying to get paid, right? Okay. Oh, look at that, snuck that in there too. There he is now, 17 months there. And the picture didn't turn out. He's literally in the kitchen sink in a potato pot. He's standing up too. That's my little boy Brooks. Oh, he's
I
not.
think
He's not in there.
there are laws about that.
Yeah.
Rick.
You're under arrest.
There are, but he was under the work hours. I promise. We already talked about time blocking, so I'm going to skip that. Okay. Oh well, I'll talk about this real quick. One of the things I see that works very successful for people is they pick theme days.
Oh.
So on a Monday, I'm going to call my top 50 VIPs or whatever your number is. Okay. On Tuesday, I do my status updates. On Wednesday, I do my data bank calls, like people that I know. Your past clients, your new business or builders, your partners, whatever you decide whatever your theme days are, those are the days you can just focus on those calls, birthday calls on Fridays or whatever, once a week or whatever. Whatever you want to do. Does that make sense? So that's one way to organize how you get some of this stuff done, because it's a lot to get done. Okay, last but not, we're coming into two last subjects, I think, here. So the marketing calendar. Come October this year, you should start planning your marketing for next year. You do your business plan first in October. Then you do your marketing calendar in November. And then you just tweak it in December, like looking at your year-ending stats. And then when January comes, there is no guessing what you're doing. If it's not on your marketing calendar, you're not going to do it. You don't need to know which open house you're going to do to schedule open houses the weekends you're going to do them. Because Rob's going to have a listing. Brisham's going to have a listing. Dave's going to have a listing, right? You can do an open house for anybody, right? So you can schedule out when you're going to mail out your newsletters. You can schedule your happy hours in advance, like for the quarter. You can schedule all these things. But if they're not on your calendar, you're not going to do them. So get them on your calendar. By November, you do your marketing calendar. And then everything happens to fall. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's already on the calendar. Oh, shoot, that's coming up in 2 weeks. Let's start planning for that, right? As a team. So make sure you get that done. Social media. Okay. I know all of you are social media gurus. I teach a whole class on that too, but I used to. I spent $5,000 for a one-day class. I went to Grant, Alabama. This podunk town in Alabama. This dude was getting 40 to 50 applications a day. I'm like, how is he doing that? He goes, social media. So I went there and he taught me everything I knew about social media. I came back. I taught realtors all over the city, and they all thought they knew everything. They didn't know squat. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, it was unreal. So there's a thing called Edge, the Edge ranking on Facebook. They didn't know what that was. There's all kinds of stuff. So I started teaching that, and then I was teaching them how to fish, and then our business went, because they were getting more leads. But anyways, on your Facebook, or you guys all have a Facebook profile? Okay. Send a message to 5 people a day. Pull up Messenger and direct message 5 people every day. Because if you do that, those 5 people are going to see your next 5 posts. It's going to come up on their feed. Okay?
How do you choose them? How do you choose the 5 people?
It's up to you.
Cool. Okay.
And by the way, you need at least 1,500 connections before the algorithms really kick in. So if you're not at 1,500, start friending everybody.
Okay.
Seriously. If they put you in Facebook jail and say, whoa, you're friending people you don't know, and they lock you out for a day or 2, who cares? Once they let you out of jail, you go right back to doing it and start adding friends. Okay? And then once you get over 1,500, you start selectively removing the people that aren't going to send you business. Like another realtor's probably not going to
All
send
the
you
realtors.
business.
Get rid of
exactly.
400
Yeah,
some realtors.
100%. Yep. Okay. Facebook message people on their birthdays. Just go to Messenger, say, hey, happy birthday. You can have a preset video you use, send that out. A friend request all your, this says past clients. That's wrong, isn't it? After you've done a deal, they're a prospective client, or while you're doing it, friend them, okay? That's how I was able to build mine up pretty quick too, okay? All right, social media. All your business partners should be on your social media platforms as friends. whichever ones you do, Instagram, whatever, LinkedIn. Do you guys all have a past client, prospective client, sorry, Facebook group, private one that you've set up for all your prospective past clients? If you haven't done that, do that. And in that group, all you do is post content that you don't post out to the general public. You give them the perks, the Amex higher tier stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. Post at least twice a week. That's old news. Actually, you need to do more than that. But by the way, though, I don't post that often. And every time I do, I get engagement because I built it up. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I literally put in my calendar, social media posts. And I'm just, gosh dang it, I didn't do it today.
What do you
We're all
post?
human. And it's not my biggest thing, but when I do it, I get a lot of engagement because I did it on the front end. When I was building it, I did it, and it sticks.
What do you post normally? I don't ever post, because first of all, I don't want to get political, so I don't ever post.
Never do politics, yep.
Of course, I post vacation photos.
Yep.
But I'm only on vacation like 4 or 5
But
weeks
don't
a
post
year.
them all at once. Post one or two pictures and then come back and say, hey, this was tell a story.
I've been doing that like.
Do that a little better,
you know,
Pets,
Croatia.
kids,
2022.
grandkids, community events. Like, literally, all you gotta do is Google, what do I post on Facebook? Or like, give you a social media calendar. They'll give you all kinds of ideas. I just literally did that the other day, and I printed it out and I sent it to Devin and Alexa on my
Yeah, it
team.
was good.
Okay, hey, real quick, just another little picture. So remember we talked about giving back? So this is a Code 3 retreat we put together. These are all first responders that we take to Texas, and we spoil them. They're there for it's a 4-day trip, 1 day travel there, 1 day back. They get a chef. This chef makes the best meals. We take them horseback riding. They do shooting. They do all this stuff. Give back to your community. Here's a Colorado Springs police officer. He got hit in his car. He got kicked out of the police force because he was so jacked up his leg. Dude was thinking about killing himself. He doesn't mind it. I shared a story, and we didn't know this. We took him to this event. He goes, "Man, I was this close." He goes, "You guys just kind of brought me back to. There's a whole lot more to this life than just what I was thinking." And that cat Chuck is 20 years old, by the way.
Nice.
All right.
You guys bring that like a trauma counselor out there too, right?
Yeah, we
Where
bring
it's like,
a-
I don't want to talk to an
Yeah, because they don't want to talk to us, but
Yeah.
when they're with their other police officers and first responders, firefighters, they kind of drop their guard, and then they all start talking about stuff, and then they have bring a licensed therapist, and then she'll take them off one-on-one. They'll ride an ATV, and this is 1,200 acre ranch. Everything's paid for, and you're looking at the guy that subsidizes most of it. So, but to me, you got to do this kind of stuff because again, I sleep good at night because we got great law enforcement in this town. All right. All right, I'm gonna whiz through this because are we at 11:30? A little bit over?
We are at 32.
Okay, we're almost done. Here's what I'm gonna say about follow-up. If you get a warm lead or an internet lead, it's different. And the way you follow up with those is different. And if you haven't taken the time to think about what your process is for the follow-up, for each one of those types of leads, you need to take the time to do it. If I was you, I would literally lay out my process from before a lead comes in, what am I doing to generate leads? Once the lead comes in, and I'm talking about all your communication that happens and the things that you do during this entire process. Okay, the lead came in, I'm showing them houses now. Okay, where I'm listing their house, what happens, all that happens, all the communication points. We're under contract, either a buyer or a seller. What's the process? Where are my touch points? All during that process. We close, what's that process? What's that look like? And then after closing, how do I stay in touch for 3 years, minimum? What is your process? If you haven't done that, you can automate a lot of the touch points with the CRM. But you really should only be automating it if you have a big data bank. If you got a handful of clients, do it yourself, but just take the time to think through that process and build it out. And you're going to tweak the process as you go. You're going to find the stuff that works and the stuff that doesn't work, but do it. If you have not done that, then there's then that's probably a reason why you're not getting referrals. 50% of my business comes from my prospective clients. That's pretty good. The goal is 75 for me. The only realtors I want to work with is in this room. All right. Cool. I already talked about this. Oh, one thing right here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Right here. I'm going to do this right here. Okay. If you want to increase your conversion rates, so you got to have speed to the lead. You guys ever heard that expression, especially if it's an internet lead? Okay. Tenacity. You got to be tenacious, man. You gotta be like a pit bull on a ham bone. Like, you call that lead, you text that lead, you email that lead until they tell you stop.
Correct.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the script. Don't wing it. You have to practice what you're gonna say before you're on the call. Then when you get on the call, it doesn't sound like you practice. Anybody like the movies? I still like going to movies. Who's going to see the Mission Impossible movie? I am. Heck yeah. Anyways, but 2 hours and 49 minutes. But anyways, they're scripted, but you watch the movie, you'll never know they're scripted because they've practiced. They take different takes, right, and all that stuff. It's good stuff. Get a dang script, and you should do it as a team. Develop your scripts, Rob. Okay, that's how you have the highest potential for a conversion rate. And by the way, the number one skill you can develop as a realtor is influence. That's a whole nother class. You influence people by having credibility, by having character. I'm not sleeping with everybody in town. There's vendors in this town that's what they do when they go to these parties, right? Selena, you've seen it, yeah?
Yeah.
Like,
Rick, when are you teaching that class?
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Like, character matters. It does. I've had lady realtors come work with me. They said, my husband doesn't want me working with that realtor or lender anymore. You know, for whatever reasons, like I just said, stuff like that. It's important, right? Pay attention to your reputation. Anyways, but influence is the number one skill you can have. And you got to take them out of the information zone. Don't be the realtor that when they call, you're like, oh yeah, let me tell you about 123 Swampy Creek Lane. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and blah, blah, blah. No, not that. You want to move them from the information zone to the influence zone. And the way you do that is through connection, right? And there's power phrases. You guys ever heard of Phil Jones? Exactly What to Say? Oh my God, you got to look him up. Phil Jackson, Exactly What to Say.
Phil Jackson or Phil Jones?
I think it's Phil Jones.
Oh, Phil Jones, sorry, that's what I meant
That's
to
a
say.
good book.
Yeah. I was thinking
Phil
Michael
Jones?
Jordan again.
Action
I just read
Jackson.
it.
Yeah. Look that up.
He does seminars and stuff now
Yeah,
too on his book. Yeah.
he will tell you literally it's exactly what to say.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Okay. Oh, I had to sneak another picture in there. There's Logan. Logan is 2 months old right there. That's my daughter's second. That was like Easter, around Easter, and there's Brooks. Doing what our favorite thing to do is just to, hang out. Okay. All right, I'm just going to cover one thing on this and then we're done. Okay, there's all kinds of tools you can use to get through all the things that you need to do in a week. But one of the biggest ones that I think I got away from, but I used to use, is Slide Dial. You guys ever heard of Slide Dial? Okay, when you know you have a lot of calls to make, let's say it's a holiday, you can do a slide broadcast. You can load up all the cell phones of your database in the slide broadcast, and you leave a message and they think it's a personal message to them. Sure. And it calls and it goes straight to their voicemail. You ever see a call you missed? You're like, how did I miss that? And it's in your voicemail. That's what they're doing.
It's great when you don't
So
get
look it
to
up, slide broadcast or slide dial. You can do that with a client that you know. You got to tell them that, all right, I got the inspection, whatever it is, but you don't have time to have a 30-minute conversation. You can use slide dial for the individual calls and leave a message. It goes right to their voicemail.
I could probably do that with family.
Yes. Yes.
Birthday calls.
That's funny. That's funny.
Okay, I lied. The videos. The last part is the videos. Then I'm done. Okay.
Okay.
All right. 500 videos a week. You're all like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, right.
You want 500 views. Not you sitting there watching videos, them viewing your stuff. Okay? So, one-to-one video, I already told you about that. You're sitting in the parking lot, you do that, right? I'm not going to go through every example. You could do a one-to-many video. You guys ever heard of BombBomb? There's a tool, they're based here in Colorado Springs. You can send a video out on an email and it goes out, and the open rates are much higher than if you just don't use them. You can do a one-time use video. You want to tell somebody off, fire a client? No, just kidding. All right. Okay. And your process, remember I talked about before, lead comes in, all that stuff. You can do videos for all the frequently asked questions that come in. So if you don't have time to make the call, you've got a video, it's you, it's a little more personable. You send a video out, boom. Hey, well, who am I supposed to, why do I have to do an earnest money deposit? Like whatever the most frequently asked questions you always get, you got a green room here. Literally, Rob doesn't care. Yeah, it's over there actually. If you use it and do your videos, that's why it's here. okay?
That's
Well, I did a-
what
I
that's
did
what
a-
my knee doctor did before
I
my
did a
surgery.
podcast, an hour-long podcast
That was
with
fine.
Rick and some other vendors.
Yeah,
And then I took that podcast, I put the hour out,
Wow.
but then I broke up little
Was
sections
it like fraud in
It's
general,
like
or was it like
nowhere to go to.
where I could just do like little reels.
Yeah, but it was to you
Like you
specifically,
were
not like.
talking about.
100%. You
This
do those
is what
on
we do.
on
You
your
can
other
reuse
social
it.
media
That's
platforms,
good.
yep.
That's right.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some video ideas too. I'll race through these. To your data bank weekly, you can send something to them. Just give them, stop calling it a market update. You know what they do with those? Delete.
Right.
Instead, you could say, you're never going to believe what's the largest inventory of homes, what price range there's at. Like that, have that as your headline or whatever.
Clickbait.
Yes. Then they, oh, okay, they read it and then you do your video, okay? I would send a video to your referral partners. You could pick one or two weekly. I would love for one to get a video from one of you guys, a nice one, okay? All right, Dave. And then birthday videos, you could do birthday videos. I already talked about that. Hey, you know, you could do one that's, I know guys that wear hats and they got the horns and they just send the same video out every time. We already talked about that. Property listing videos. Are you guys doing videos on all your listings? Here's what you're not doing. Are you doing buyer videos for all your buyers? And promoting it on YouTube? Newsflash, no one's doing it. You should do it. It's cheap. I don't know how to do it. We'll Google it. How do I promote a buyer video on YouTube?
What do you mean by buyer
Yeah.
video?
You get a buyer in. Here's the video. Just is off the cuff, real quick. Hey everybody, it's Rick Ward with Benchmark Mortgage. I've got a family moving into town looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Okay.
Coming all the way from Alaska. They
Oh,
said it's going to be so nice to be warmer here in Colorado. But anyways, listen, if you know somebody who's thinking about selling their house, we might be able to move that house before it even hits the market. So that way you don't have to do open houses. You don't have people running in and out of your houses. Give me a call at 719-229-0375. I'm looking forward to working with you, hopefully. Something like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow, that'd be kinda cool.
How's that?
You're letting everyone know that you have someone who wants to buy.
Yes, and you're
Right,
trying to.
that's it.
Did you hear what I just said? You might be able to double in a deal. I didn't say
Right.
double in the deal, but did I just say that?
Somebody might call you and needs to list their house, but your
Yes.
buyer doesn't hook up with them, but you're
Yes.
gonna list their
Well,
house.
they
anyway.
call me and say like, "Hey, you have that family. I want to sell my house. Can we make it happen? Transaction on both ends."
Yeah.
And by the way, did I tell them the price range?
No.
No, because I want them to call.
Right.
Oh, hey, what
right.
price range is it, Rick? Oh, well, hold on a second. Let's slow down a minute here.
Yeah, that $1 million home, they can't afford that, but
Yeah.
I can help you find
Well,
another
that's what I
buyer
do
for
on-
that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They don't even have to necessarily connect with what you marketed. They just have to connect with you.
Right, yeah.
That's what I do on property flyers. Call Dave Downey for latest pricing information for a couple reasons. I don't have to reprint every time we have your price improvements.
Yeah.
And I want him to call, oh, this is out of my price range. Throw
you
it
go.
away. You know, it's out of my price range. Well, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Last one, video testimonials. We got away from those, but when I was building my business, when they get it clear to close on their loan, that's the best time to get the video. Because it's a lot of paperwork they got to turn in sometimes. And they're like, oh, thank God, right? And then they're happy, right? Get the video then.
Okay. They're
Okay.
related. Yeah.
Yep, all right. And last but not least, is that it? Oh, I am licensed in all 50 states. That was it. Okay. Questions on any of that? I've got like 1 or 2 minutes, and you can always call me and ask me questions. But did you get any nuggets out of that you forgot about?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses while you're not hitting your numbers. If you're not doing those activities every day or every week, you're not hitting your numbers, then you just got to work a little bit harder the next week to get to the numbers there. Shh. Don't make excuses, just do it. And if you do that for 90 days, oh, game over. Game over. You'll separate yourself from everybody else because they're lazy. They just are, human nature. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
So I'm gonna
Awesome.
put this video of this session and I'll send it to you guys too. So,
There's like a lot of info.
and there's so much, you can't just
You can't.
ask all of it. But it's really designed to get your mind
Yeah.
moving.
You guys
Just
are way
thinking
more
outside
creative
the
than I
box.
am. You guys are realtors. Like, I'm a lender.
Well, when
Like,
we have roundtable sessions,
Yeah.
like we really
yeah. We can dig into
learn a
some
lot,
of that.
yeah.
When I first sat in on this class, when I first started working with Rick, I was brand new, and I tried to like do everything from each category, but what worked best for me, because there's a lot
Right,
of stuff,
yeah,
right? If you don't know, you don't know if you've never done it. Was just picking one thing per category, right? One thing for
Right.
the conversion, one thing for videos, one thing for posts, like each of those things, and it made it much more manageable.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works. You notice once you fall away from something, you're like, man, this is slowing down. What am I missing?
Right.
Oh, I used to do this. Let me just keep doing that. Or grow on it and take another one and another one.
Right.
It only helps you get more.
Cool.
It's good. Yeah.
So start
All
with
right.
one thing.
All right,
Yeah,
guys, I
'cause
gotta
they-
run.
me personally,
I got a
get
lunch date with my
I get
grandsons.
over-
All right, see you later.
Where do I
Thanks,
even
Rick.
start?
I know.
So what did you learn? You learned to party your way to the top.
That's right.
That's
That was one of the
exactly
best
right.
advice
That's
I got
right.
when I first started too. Was from you.
That's right.
How
Yeah.
do you do it? I just party
It's
my
like,
way to the top.
you get out there, and
That
people
sounds
just
easy.
want to work with you. It's just crazy. Yeah.
It gets harder the older you get, though. I think. I think when I first started, I was still in the army when I started, you know, and
Yeah.
was partying all the time. And then now I've been out for a few years. And like, I just came from Florida for my one friend that passed away, and we were all like, "We're gonna drink like we're in the barracks again." I think probably an hour in, we're like, "I'm done."
Right. It's not that kind of party.
I'm going home, man.
It's just like
I flew all
get
the way
yourself
out.
out there, right? Yeah,
You're right.
that's
You
what
just
I
gotta
look
be
at.
working on the
Yeah.
law, and somebody's gonna ask
Yeah.
you questions. And,
I mean, it's Bible studies and bowling leagues.
Yeah,
and
all
just
that
having
stuff.
fun, you know. Yeah.